Hello and welcome back to the Beardworks Podcast for episode number 9, I believe, is it, Nick?
Yep, 9.
Bloody hell, we're moving along at the moment. I reckon 8 to 9 weeks in. I think we've done a couple in a week or so. So, yeah, kicking along, a couple months into it, absolutely loving it. And yeah, so start off this week's episode. Let's talk about the one thing we've been hinting at for a little while now, and that is building our own model kits in the Gundam universe, or what they call it universally at the moment around the world is Gunpla. Nick, did you have fun building yours?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. You've obviously told me about Gundams for like a couple of years now. You've been hyping up the animes, and old shows and stuff. But like, obviously, a big part of that community is the actual physical model kits. And so yeah, I picked one up, and it was pretty dope to build. It was hard, but it was rewarding.
So, just to give everyone listening a bit of history about Gunpla, Gunpla has been around for a very long time, and because the anime of Gundam is what it's called, has been around for such a long time. I think it's just had its 40th anniversary this year, so it's been around a very long time. And Gunpla was brought forward. I don't exactly know the time when it first started, when Gunpla first took off, but anyways, the point is that it's building model mechas or mech suits. And yeah, it's just a cool little thing. So if anyone's watched Gundam will know that it's really cool. There's plenty of different series to watch. Not all of them are based in the same universe. It's very similar to a Fate franchise. Not saying that Fate came after Gundams, but the point is that there are multiple universes and multiple timelines. They're not always connected. So we'll talk about Fate on another episode, I'm sure.
Definitely.
One of our favorites. But yeah, anyways, so going back to Gundam, it's been a very, very long time, and it all started back with the original Gundam, and that was a really cool design, but it was very simplistic, but people still loved it. And now they're so going on to create so many more. And I think Nick and I will probably end up taking a photo and chucking it up on our Twitter or a photo for you guys to see, so you see what we've designed. Well, not designed, but built. But yeah, I mean, this is my first experience building one of these. I was saying in an episode last week or the week before, that I did build a Zoid when I was younger, but yeah, not very flash, well average. And then I think we spoke about Bionicles, which are very simplistic models.
Yeah. Another thing that I was a bit shocked by when actually building my model was all the different like grades. Because like when you're like looking online, you're just seeing all these robots and stuff, but you don't realize there's like what's the different grades? There's a high grade, rare grade, master grade.
Yeah, so there's plenty of different grades you can buy, and each one of them has a different level of detail. So at the moment, there's the SD grade, which is a special kind of different kind of timeline, or not so much timeline, but build of the Gundams, where it's like a bit more. They have like short bodies with the heads are the same size as the bodies, pretty much. Whereas anyone that has traditional Gundams, they're more like built like humans with a smaller head with a bigger body. But yeah, so you've got high grades, master grade, real grade, and then you've got perfect grade, which is like the top end of it. Then you have like some, the few of the websites I've looked at, they have this one called the Re 100, which is like a reborn 100. So it's like 1/100th of the size, because most of the models that you can buy are one in 144. So it's not a massive scale, but they're still detailed. But yeah, every single one of those little grades has a different. So how can I say this? Obviously, like I said, each one has a level of detail that the other one does not have. So the higher it gets, the more detail, and obviously the more parts as well. So, the ones we both have are high grades. Is that right, Nick?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, mine's high grade Gundam Seed is what it says on the box here. Gundam Seed's the show or the series, isn't it?
Yeah, so the Gundam Seed is one of the series that came out in the last 20 years. But
I built the Blaze Zaku Phantom Razor Burrell Custom. Like, that's just a whole lot of jargon that I don't really understand, but mine's like a white, pink, and grey Gundam with like big shoulder cannons and like a machine gun and a sword.
Yeah, the Zaku was. There's plenty of ways you can pronounce it as well, but that's one of the most commonly known like enemy types of the Gundams throughout the series. But yeah, so that's obviously one of the models. The model I had. So I actually bought a beginner's model kit from this company that works with model kits, and not just Gundams, but plenty of other franchises as well. And they just give you something. They give you all the stuff that you need to begin it. Obviously, as a beginner box, to become a beginner inside Gunpla, and so I got like the little tweezers, got a little sharpening tool. I didn't get any sandpaper, which is one thing I'll probably need to look at buying. And yeah, so and then what they do is they send off, that little starter kit plus a high grade model to build. And I had a Nemo, or Nemo, what do you want to call it? They're like a mass produced mobile suit within the TV shows, one of the franchises. I think it's in the Zeta Gundam or Z Gundam series, which I personally have not watched. But yeah, it's a fun little build. It's not a Gundam because obviously Gundams are the main mechs in these shows, hence the titles and the series names. And that's what, I love the Gundams. I'm not going to go out and buy these other kits when Gundam's my favorite. Obviously, there's some really cool enemy bots, but Gundams are the best.
What's
But,
side note? What's Neo Genesis Evangelion? Is that like what came before Gundam or what came after? I know that's really old and they're similar.
So Gundam was released. Let me just have a look here. So the original series was released. When was it? So 1979 to 1980, and
Yep.
Neon Genesis Evangelion. I am not 100. So I've watched the start of that. Oh, I watched it when I was younger, but I never got stuck into it. Let's have a look when it was aired. So it was in.
So just
1997. So.
So Gundam.
That's the end of Evangelion. So yeah, I can't exactly tell you when it began. I mean, I think I loved Gundam. That's my series. Evangelion is not so much mine. So, but yeah, they've both been around. Mech shows have been around for a long time. Gundam sort of sparked the mech shows.
Yep.
There's a video on YouTube where it tells you about the history of Gundam, which is really good watch. But I'm not going to link that because unless you're really interested, you'd go find it yourself. So. But anyways, yeah, Gundam's been around for a long time. The series have been kicking off, and they've done really well. The first one that ever aired in America or the western side of the world was Gundam Wing, which was my first experience to Gundam on Toonami on Cartoon Network.
Yep.
And that was a really cool experience. Is based because the original Gundam was based off of one Gundam as like the sole hero of the game of the show, with obviously teammates, but there was only one Gundam. Throughout the years, they started introducing more Gundams than just one. So like an enemy Gundam would arise, or then there'd be like teams of Gundams. And so Gundam Wing was the first sort of one where it had five mobile suits or Gundams on the same side. And that was a really cool story. I really enjoyed that because it talks about the political wars a lot as well between the space and the Earth, because like it talks about people colonizing or Earthlings colonizing into space and then they're turning against each other. So there's lots of political views and it's real gritty war. So Gundam Wing is a great way to start if you haven't watched any of the Gundams.
Well, I haven't, so probably should.
Gundam Wing is a bit older though, but if you want something a bit more recent, probably a good one to start would be Gundam 00. Gundam 00 is by far my favorite at this stage Gundam TV show. I really enjoy the designs of the mechs. The characters are pretty likable, and the action is really good. There's no reused content, whereas in Gundam Seed and Gundam Seed Destiny, they start to reuse a bit of the animation, which is a bit disappointing. Yeah. But yeah, getting back to we can talk about Gundam in another time after you watch some Gundam, Nick. But we'll get back to our model kits. First off, it took me a little while, and I feel like I did shave a little bit more bits off the actual model kits than I should have in some areas, but overall I'm really happy with my design with my actual end build.
Yeah, mine I built mine and I was looking at it and it just looked wrong. Like I was looking at the shoulders, they were sticking out too far. Like this was a couple days, it was just on my desk staring at me and I just knew it was wrong. So I took my arms apart and then I realized I had one joint that could go both ways. And I switched the joints around and then the arms fit perfect. So like I hated it after I built it for the first like 2 days because it was just looked wrong. And then I fixed it and it's unreal.
Yeah, to think that I actually made this. I'm not a massive handyman and I'm not a great fix-it kind of guy, but I enjoyed making this model kit. And yeah, going through and because obviously they come in like plates or what should you call it, but like it's like a stencil kind of thing that you can cut out all the pieces on, and then you cut down on the little studs on the ends, so then you can make it nice and smooth. And you put the pieces together, and it looks really good. Like they're actually really cool model kits. And this is only high grade. Now, saying that, I've bought another high grade from my favorite anime, which is Gundam 00. Favorite Gundam anime, which was Gundam 00. And yeah, that's one of my. It's not my favorite mech, but it was one that I think is a bit of easier build compared to the other ones. So I'm going to start building that this weekend probably. And then I went and bought a real grade one, which was a bit more expensive. And the detail on that thing looks crazy. And I'm just looking at it now and thinking how many headaches I'm going to have cut this to pieces and trying to build it.
Yeah, I definitely am in the market for another one. It's just finding time to go like to the shop and actually look, because there's this place in the city, or like our local city, that sells a bunch. It's just a mountain. It's a whole wall of Gundams. It's just going to take me hours to go through and find one actually like.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many Gundams and so many different designs. And then it's just a really cool world, I think, to actually like not so much Gundam as like the show, but the Gunpla kind of franchise it's massive. There's so much around the world, and one of the coolest things is there's so many YouTube channels of people building them and then also customizing them, so painting them themselves or making custom parts from other Gundams or other mobile suits to put onto that one. And there's some really cool designs out there. It just shows you that the imagination of how you could actually bring your mobile suit or your Gundam that you have in your brain to life in front of you. It's so cool.
Yeah, I saw a picture online when I was just like hunting around looking at them. Some guy built a Gundam that would have been, I don't know, 2 foot tall, 3 foot tall, just out of the empty grids that the normal pieces come in.
Yep.
Yeah, like that's hectic. That dude's got to be an engineer.
Yeah, for sure. Some of these, yeah, I've seen some crazy designs, and yeah, I just love the look of mechs. I mean, I love Transformers, and I even watched a bit of Robotech back when I was younger. Yeah, I just think they're so cool, and obviously Gundam is still continually strong at the stage. You know, Netflix has Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans, which is like the current
Jesus.
Gundam, which is really good. It's a good watch. I mean, I'm only about I think 15 episodes in, but it's such a good watch. And then there are other ones, and this is one of the animes I was never really interested in watching, but I've just started watching recently since I've built my mobile suit or my Gunpla, and that's Gundam Build Fighters. So the story behind Gundam Build Fighters is that they build their mobile suits and then they place them on this like little base and it like scans them into the game, but it's the mobile suits actually move. There's something like this kind of particle system that that joins up with the joins inside the Gunpla, and they can actually move them with like holograms, like in their hands.
Jesus,
And
we'll
they
have to
battle
talk
each,
to Dylan about it.
yeah, and
Hopefully,
they battle each other out in these like digital fields. And when the battle's over, your actual Gundam or your Gunpla is actually damaged, like has damage from the actual battle. So yeah,
that's
it's
it.
pretty cool. And there's actually another one after that. So there's Gundam Build Fighters, like the original series, and there's Gundam Build Fighters Try, which is the follow-up season with the same characters, which I'm not up to yet. And then there's one that came out shortly after that, which was called Gundam Build Divers. So it's like VR. So
Jesus.
obviously, yeah, Gundam's really going well at the moment. And then they've got the more serious and more gritty one, which is the Iron Blooded Orphans, which is yeah, really keen to watch that again. But I hear there are talks of Gundam 00 having a third season coming back, which would be I think really cool because they had the original 2 series and then brought out the movie. I'd love to see a Gundam Wing remaster with wide-angled shots and stuff. I reckon that would be really cool. But yeah, Gundam as a whole is awesome, man. I just can't wait to get started on my next kit.
Yeah, I definitely need to get another one. Definitely need to invest.
And that's what we were saying just before we started the podcast is that you can get the pens and you can draw within the joints or on the where the parts join the plastic.
Yeah,
When you
I'd love
put
to customize one, make my own
and
custom.
I've seen like they just detail it with the pen and then you wipe over it with a swab and it sort of like makes like a dark rustic kind of feel or look. And so it shows like every single panel of the leg or the torso of the arms like that. It's a different plate of steel, if you were talking in the terms of the Gundam. So
That's
yeah,
it.
really awesome. But yeah, I think we can move on to our next subject, which is massive. Nick, you can bring it to the forefront if you'd like.
Well, yeah, we're talking about something we really enjoyed, Gundams, like really good experience. And now this is something. This the other box of frogs. It's a real bad experience was the Xbox event. I know we talked about the PS4, the PS5 event. And we really loved that. All the cool games were coming out, and Xbox shat the bed. 100% shat the bed.
Yeah, there's no other way to look at it, really. Unfortunately,
Oh.
we spoke about this, saying that Xbox really have to come out swinging, and then we had a good friend John on one podcast a couple of weeks ago, and he spoke about how the PlayStation really did really well, but Xbox have to do really well now to actually try and keep the competitiveness up.
And boy, was he wrong.
Yeah, and then this is the thing. It's so hard to understand where they came from because after watching the PlayStation Live event and how well they did, and to see how people reacted, you think that Microsoft had plenty of time. They had a month, I think it was, between shows to show us something that could challenge them, and they just didn't. I just don't understand.
I don't know what happened, man. Oh, I don't even know how to start this. Like, do I rip them to shreds? Do I like write this
Well,
letter in blood? I don't understand.
we have to look at the comparisons. So the games that we were shown by the PlayStation event, there were so many different variety of games, and they looked really gorgeous, of course. And they didn't start off like with the biggest game, and Xbox did. But the thing, well, this is a contrasting thing, is that Xbox started off with Halo Infinite. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
and then and then they finished off with Fable 4, which was only a little bit of a trailer, and I think it's like 2 or 3 years away yet. And that's so Halo and Fable are their probably biggest, other than Forza as well, are their two biggest hitters. And Halo did not live up to what I believe it should have been. And then you look at Fable, that's 2 or 3 years away. There's nothing drawing you to the game to buy a console at this stage. Like there's nothing.
I've been a diehard Xbox person since I was a little kid. My first console, it was the PlayStation 1. It was my family had it. But my first like personal console was the original Xbox. Halo, I don't even know, Mortal Kombat, Deadly Alliance, like all my old school favorites. So I've always been Xbox 360, Xbox One, whatever.
Yeah,
And I'm not getting the next Xbox at the moment. Like I never thought I'd hear myself say that.
it's
Like they've absolutely just like buried themselves alive.
I I am so grateful for what Xbox have done up until this point, where they got the Game Pass, the Ultimate Game Pass, that you can play your games over
That's
from
really good.
console and on PC. Because I got a decent PC, I can play those games on my PC. So I am grateful that they've done that and they've actually started that kind of trend because they're trying to make it more universal. Like Microsoft and Xbox aren't separate; they're together. So like obviously Microsoft, you're working with PCs and everything, but now it's like a franchise that's all in one now. A user experience is really good. I can't fault them for that. PlayStation can take a few things from them, especially like party chat from Xbox.
Yep.
PlayStation's is not equal to that. And I find that the flow of the Xbox, I don't want to say the dashboard. Dashboard's not too bad, but it feels like it's all just one big entertainment system. Whereas the PlayStation is very, just very simple.
Yep.
But yeah, I just don't understand what their thought process was when they put this together. When I was watching it, because I finished my midnight shift, so I finished at 12 o'clock at night. Came home and I was just like watching an episode, I think, of Gundam Build Fighters, and all of a sudden, my phone just showed something on my Facebook, and it had like the Xbox Live event countdown. It was like 8 minutes away. I was like, oh, I can sleep in a bit early, I guess, tomorrow, or a bit later, sorry. So I might as well give it a watch, and I was watching it, and I was very unimpressed, especially when they showed Halo. And that
Oh
was
yeah.
the start to kick it off. And it wasn't so much the graphics, the graphics can change. It's only an early product, it seems like, even though it should be released on launch. And then they came out later saying that it was actually on a PC build, not the Xbox build, because it's going to be it's going to be on the Xbox One plus the Series X plus PC. So they just did it on a PC. It was the gameplay. It just didn't hook me like it used to. Like the grappling hook, they just stole that straight out of bloody Doom Eternal.
Yeah, I don't know. They've done something, man. They're just I don't know,
And
like kids running the company right now. I don't know.
But how do you
It's
feel
me.
about the actual the build of the map? So they actually said that you can actually there's no like linear part you have to go to. There's a story you have to follow, but you can go down and do like each one of the checkpoints whenever you like, just not in order, just in any way you want. I don't want Halo to do that. I want Halo to still be its old school kind of straightforward missions with a bit of an open like setting, but not to the way that it was then. This might only be one part of the game, but it didn't feel like Halo to me.
No, it was shit.
It looked like
I'm gonna be meaner than you. It was shit.
it looked like Halo, but I just didn't want it to fall down go down that path. I wanted it to be its own thing still, and that's why I was a bit disappointed. So I was like, okay, what can we move on from here? It can only go up, surely, or hoping this is not their only big hitter. And I was very well disappointed from then on out.
Yeah, it was shocking. They invented time travel. That's the one thing I can take from this Xbox conference. They invented time travel. They went back in time and showed us gameplay from 2008. That's how
Yeah,
shit it looked and how shit it played.
yeah. I just don't. I just don't know. I'm literally trying to think now of anything nice I can say about it, but I was so disappointed by it. And I even saw some of the clouds clipping in and out in one of the trailers. I mean, in that gameplay, I'm not sure if it's just me. Well, I haven't watched. I've only watched it 2 times now. I haven't watched it the third time to double check, but I just don't know. I just don't know. Like me and you spoke about this off air, talking about the story they could have taken, and in this story so far, they've shown that the USMC has USUM. Oh, anyways, the military in this world of Halo has been destroyed apparently, and I thought it'd really been cool if we could have had you play as not as the Master Chief, but as another Spartan that rebuilds a small crew. Sort of like I think my friend, we had Pap on a few weeks ago. Him and I were talking about, you start building a squad, sort of like Mass Effect, like 1, 2 to 3. You build a squad, and you have to start taking back some of the Halo rings and all that other stuff. But you build your squad, and like still missions, but you pick your squad on like certain battles, not make it like Mass Effect, but borrow bits and pieces and take it away from the Master Chief just for one game, so you can rebuild the world. And then you talk about, there's been sightings of the Master Chief on one of these Halo rings, and that can be the Halo Infinite, the next game.
I just don't feel like they've taken any care with this. Like, they saw the PlayStation event crush it on every front, and now they're just like, okay, we can't compete, so they have just given up. That's what it seems like. Like, even that brute from the trailer, Craig, has become a meme.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, because he looked that shocking. Like, I'm looking at a meme right now. They've put that brute on the cover of Brute Force.
Those graphics were bad. Like I was watching, I was like, you can't be serious. Like you have in these days, you have people that are diehard Xbox fans and PlayStation fans, but then you have the guys that are in the middle that don't really mind what side they go for. Obviously, if they have a big group of friends, it's one or the other. But that brute face that they showed was so outdated, and I was like, "What are you guys doing? This is your one time to win people over. Show some amazing graphics. Go all out." And they just didn't. I just don't understand.
Like, you're looking at the technical specs of the PS5 versus the Series X. Series X beats it on everything, but it's a worse system.
Yeah, well, if you have to have the games to do it. And this is another thing I was saying. I'm grateful for what Xbox are doing. Don't get me wrong. I'm grateful for what they're doing is how they're making it cross-platform with the PC and the Xbox. But all of these games I can play on my PC. They're all on Ultimate Game Pass. So there are 1 or 2 games I don't think that aren't. I think Crossfire was one of them, the campaign. Point is that I can play these games on my PC, but I still have not got the drive to want to play them. Well, we know how bad Halo was. Let's move on from Halo and talk about something that was interesting. That was a very short snippet, and that's Avowed.
That is the only game that I thought has potential. When I watched the PlayStation event, I had a note up on my phone, and I wrote down all the games I liked. I had a big list. The only game I wrote down for the Xbox event was Avowed, and it was pretty well just cinematics, no gameplay.
Yeah, it has that little bit that we showed. It reminded me of version what's the big beast in the Lord of the Rings?
The Balrog.
Yeah, like it reminded me of that straight away. Just like standing there waiting for it to come around the corner, and it's because of the flames are getting bigger and bigger. Or the lighting was. So I mean, that could be something that's really good. That's the next big game from that company, from Obsidian. So yeah, but now I'm just scrolling down the list. Okay, Forza. That's pretty stock standard. Forza's not too bad. They actually get the best out of the consoles, like as in the
But that's
graphics-wise.
Forza Motorsport. That's not even the good Forza. The Horizon series is better.
Yeah. But I
Heaps
mean,
better.
in saying that, it looks pretty nice though. And then Tetris, whatever.
Half of the stuff on here was DLC.
Yeah, Destiny 2.
Beyond Light. Okay, DLC, no one cares. It's gonna be on everything. Outer Worlds, Peril of the Gorgon, no one cares. It's gonna be on everything. It's old.
And then they're talking about this. Tell me why, how it's got the brother and sister kind of thing. The graphics didn't look that flash in there, and some of those scenes made me feel really uncomfortable. It seemed like they were a couple that were in love, not brother and sister. That was just weird.
Yeah, it was a little bit like Life is Strange with a bit of an incest flair. I was not keen on that shit.
Jeez.
Psychonauts 2, fair enough, look cool. That game could have run on an original Xbox graphically.
Yeah, then you got Crossfire that we're scrolling down the same page at the moment. Crossfire is a multiplayer game, and now they've designed a single player story just for the Xbox, which is I don't know. I just don't know. And then you got Dragon
Quest. That's a Switch game. Okay, moving on. No one cares.
Now Stalker 2, that could be something good. That I have to be honest. Stalker back in the day was pretty decent, and Stalker 2 looked good. But yeah, that could possibly be coming to PlayStation as well. So
Then we got Fantasy Star Online 2. Isn't that a PC like a MOBA? And they're doing it on Xbox now.
I haven't touched that at all. I have no idea. And then
It's
you got
real anime, futuristic kind of weird
it
robot
looks
stuff.
cool.
It
Yeah.
looks alright, but
Then you got the Medium, which was like a dual reality kind of thing, which is something different, I guess. But it still didn't pique my interest, like some of the random PlayStation games that they revealed that I had no idea what they were called, but they
the
look
Medium reminded me of Evil Within a little bit.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
But you look at like the random,
I don't even know
like
anymore here.
old school like throwbacks they're doing. Okay, they're putting like they've got the new Psychonauts coming out. That's like a throwback game. But you can go to PlayStation and they're going to remaster Demon Souls, which is one of the original like Souls like games.
Yeah.
Like even PlayStation's picking and choosing of what games to bring forward into the new gen is even better. Like
Yeah.
the Souls series is so popular. The Psychonauts franchise, like who even plays that?
Yeah.
Like I don't know what audience are they trying to appeal to?
There was only one game that stood out for me that I thought might be fun, and I think it was just the game that you guys were talking about the other night when I was coming home from work, I should say. Was they Grounded? Is that on PlayStation on the Xbox at the moment?
Oh yeah, Grounded is a game. I'll just explain it to people who don't know what it is. It's a game coming to Game Pass on current Xbox that we all pre-downloaded about a month ago because that's when the pre-download came out. It's like Rust, kind of like you have 4-player teams, survival game, but it's like Honey I Shrunk the Kids. It's like you are little kids that have been shrunken down. You're in your backyard, like giant ants, giant basketballs, like all that kind of cool stuff. We got it. We all downloaded it. Been waiting a month. Clicked on it last night when it went live. Online coming soon. How can you release a game and not have online when all your advertisements have been advertising the multiplayer with your friends?
Yeah.
Like that's just screaming that Xbox does not know what they're doing and they've got only unfinished games that no one wants to play or cares about.
And this is the thing, Grounded. Like I hadn't seen any Grounded before until I watched the Xbox reveal event, and obviously you guys have heard of it and seen it, so this was new to me. And I was like, oh wow, this game looks really interesting. Like yeah, it had that bit of the Rust feel, but sort of like defend your base, go searching through dark tunnels, like where the ants hives are and stuff like, which was really cool. But yeah, then I heard you guys talking about it in our group chat on Facebook Messenger, and I was just like, are you guys talking about this game that's meant to come out on the Xbox Series X? And I realized that you guys it's on the Xbox One X at the moment, or the Xbox One, and there's no multiplayer at the moment, which is not, like you said, if you're advertising to have multiplayer and have that kind of 4-player co-op kind of thing, and you don't have it on release, people are going to be pretty upset about that. And
I definitely was.
So yeah, I just don't know how I feel about this. I just watched it and I just have no idea. Like, obviously, I'm not expecting a Battlefield or a Call of Duty because that's going to come out on both consoles to come in and save the day or something different. But I just don't understand. Like, PlayStation had Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us come out, like Last of Us Part 2 come out in the first 6 months of the year. Well, sorry, Ghost came out in the 7th month of the year, but they still had the two like very, very popular games before they even released, ready to come out. And they've still got really popular games coming out on their next gen as well. PlayStation, what have Xbox brought out this year?
Yeah, Grounded that you can't play with your friends.
So that just shows that they're just not. I just have no idea. I honestly can't put my head in the right thought process right now because I just don't understand what they're doing. Like,
I want to love Xbox, but they're making it too hard.
We've been on Xbox for years. Like for the last, we met on Xbox Party Chat.
Yeah, we did.
And now that it's this, and it's so disappointing. We've obviously gone back and played Bloodborne together on PlayStation. Obviously, it isn't the full proper co-op experience which we're waiting for, but I just don't understand. I'm really disappointed right now. I can't put my words to thought.
It's just
words.
Absolutely a dismal attempt at a console hype train. I don't know. Xbox is just letting me down, and this is going to be the last console Microsoft makes. This is it.
Feels like
it's going to be that unpopular. It's going to kill the Xbox. You're going to go to focus Game Pass on PC. That's going to be it.
Yeah, and I think the only thing I can think of right now is that maybe we're going to be wrong. Sort of like where we're wrong with Ghost of Tsushima. But Ghost of Tsushima is a video game that it's
At
sort of
least
like
the trailers had good graphics. Halo looked like a 360 game.
Well, that's the thing. So we said that Ghost, we weren't too keen for Ghost. Ghost coming out, we're absolutely loving the crap out of this game.
I'm
But
still
that's
playing it every day.
But that's a video game though. And it's like saying that these are all just video games, but they are selling a console as well. It's not obviously the console, Xbox Series X on paper, the actual console looks a little bit probably better than the PlayStation. But I think overall, over the two consoles, I feel like PlayStation have more of a handle on how to get the best out of their console. In saying that, it's only early days for Xbox. I'm hoping we're wrong. In saying that, we are both buying the PlayStation when it comes out, and the Xbox can wait if I get it at all, because obviously most games are coming to PC. So
Yeah, like I don't have a PC, so it's probably more like I'll probably have one before most of our group, just because most of you guys are PCs. But I'm going to be PS5 for the start of the next gen, if not indefinitely the next gen, because there's just nothing on. There's nothing on nothing on Xbox.
I'm just so disappointed. I just don't understand.
Our childhood is ending.
we've been men for a little while now. Well, what we like to call men anyway.
Yeah, we just were talking about building robot models. I've kissed a girl, guys. It's fine.
sorry, that was too good. But yeah, I think I've said I think a lot tonight because I'm trying to put words to it. But yeah, Xbox has literally just, like you said at the start, shat the bed. I just don't know how else to put it at the moment. I'm just hoping they can come out with something, and I'm hoping Halo Infinite is better than what I've seen. And like we said, it's all early days, and we're shitting on them early, but they have a small period, like a small window to actually get people to buy their console, to get keen to buy their console. At this stage, PlayStation have blown it out the water, and everyone's gonna be buying a PlayStation, I think.
Well, our entire group, every night we're on party chat on Box. Our entire group, bar one or two, is on the PS train now. That's it.
Oh, for sure.
We've knocked the Xbox. That's it.
It's crazy because, like I said, we've been playing Xbox for years, and now we're just all jumping ship because this little bit has killed it for us. But we all knew that the exclusives on PlayStation have been better for years now, and they've shown that. And instead of wasting money on buying like two consoles when most stuff is universal now, bar the exclusives. But like we said, the exclusives on Xbox are just not there anymore. You know, Gears of War has gone downhill so far. What other games? I mean, obviously Halo Infinite does not look like the Halo I fell in love with. Like I think you said it plenty of times, and I think John said it as well. You know, all these games, their trilogy, all their stories ended after once the trilogy was finished. Halo 1 through 3 was amazing. Gears 1 through 3 was amazing, and then they're just trying to build on it.
3, if we're going real throwback, the Lord of the Rings trilogy on Xbox.
Oh, can we please remaster that? That would be bloody amazing.
No one talks about it, but even Fellowship was a really good game. Did you play Fellowship?
Yeah. I got stuck on just after the part where you get jumped after you escape the catacombs kind of thing, and you're fighting as Aragorn on top of the hill with the old stone structure.
Yeah. That ring wraiths fight was hectic. And I was a little kid. I was shit at games. Probably I could go back and do it first try without practice now. But as a kid,
if they remastered those three games and put them on one like download or one purchase, that would be one of the best.
Switch. It's a perfect trilogy for Switch.
Yeah, I mean Switch is fine and all, but I'd love to play it on console. But I mean, even though Switch is a console, but you know, not a handheld one.
I just want to take it to uni and not do my lecture and play Lord of the Rings.
But yeah, and then so those games are really awesome. Myself and John were talking about it last night. How it'd be really cool if they actually remastered and put all into one purchase every single zombie maps from the Call of Duty franchise.
Yeah, that could be interesting. I just don't know how it would work with licensing because there's different companies that have done different.
It'd just be really cool because there's so many different Easter eggs in each one of the stories are really good. And this video we were watching on YouTube was the guy talking about him ranking 1 through to 10 or 10 to 1.
What's your favorite zombies map?
I really love the theater one from Black Ops.
That's my favorite one, Kino de Toten.
Yeah, that was really simple. I really like that one. I liked Shinonuma on the original World at War. That was the kind of like swamp kind of map. That was kind of cool, but that was very early. And obviously, as the games got progressively better, or the maps got different, obviously, and the stories changed, the Easter eggs were a bit more in depth, and you actually had challenges to do. But I still like the simplistic stuff of just surviving as long as you can. But In saying that, I played a lot of hours on the Moon map. Absolutely love that. And I also loved the Origins map, which we've completed the Easter egg on. With 3-man Easter egg, obviously. Not a massive... Actually, sorry. I would say it'd be the theater map, and then it would go Moon, Origins, and my favorite one, and this is the guy's favorite one from the video that we watched, was Alcatraz one. Not the remaster, but Blood of the Dead. Is it Blood of the Dead? Or Mob of the Dead?
Is that the
Yeah.
one with it's got like
All the
Buffy and
gangsters.
Danny Trio and
No, that's a different one. This one is with like all the mob actors, like the gangster. Yeah, that was really cool, and because you had the Hell's Retriever, which was really sick. Yeah. Anyways, what was yours?
yeah, definitely
theater.
Kino to Tote in the theater, and the one from World at War, Derise, like one of the OG,
Oh, the
like
giant
first,
one, yeah.
the first Easter egg map.
Yeah, with the Wonder Waffle. That was
Yeah.
pretty sick. Yeah, zombies, I haven't played as much recently because I just got bored. Not so much bored, there's just so much going on. I just like the original stuff. But if they remastered them or put on one disc, that'd be really sick. I'd buy that. Because can you imagine just jumping on, you go, oh, guys, what map we're playing tonight? Yep, let's do this and have a bit of fun, you know?
I don't reckon it's a full price game, though. If they remastered, say,
no.
like 15, 20 maps, it's a $50 game.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But
Yeah.
I'd still buy it. I reckon it'd be really sick.
Oh, yeah, we'd hammer it. We'd hammer it. On PS5.
On PS5, yeah. But let's go back to the Xbox Live event and let's talk about the final reveal, which was Fable 4. And me personally, Fable's okay. I
never really got into Fables. I've tried them. I didn't get much. I was a Skyrim kid.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, obviously, Fable came out a bit before Skyrim, but obviously, the Oblivion and the Elder Scrolls kind of games were around the same time as Fable. I keep saying Fabled. Gosh, around the same time as Fable, and so Fable to me wasn't as realistic. Like I didn't like the character designs as much.
Yeah, no, I definitely had like I don't know how to explain it to people just only via listening. It's like Skyrim with Pixar graphics. Like that's pretty well.
Yeah, the body portions are a little bit different.
Yeah, for sure.
The clothing is a bit different as well, but I mean, still a great franchise. Like, there's no doubt about it. It's one of the most popular franchises from the original Xbox through to what it is on the Xbox now, 360. But yes, so obviously it's skipped a gen because it never. Fable 3 came out on the Xbox 360, so it actually they've had a whole time frame here where they've had no Fable, which
there was a cancelled Fable, wasn't there though?
Oh, there's a Connect Fable as well.
But there was an actual. I don't know if this is the same assets they're going to reuse and just bring back to the current gen, but there was a Fable for Xbox One that got cancelled.
Yeah,
it's probably just going to be reusing all that shit.
All I know is that Fable 4 is not enough to get me back to buy. Well, like, I'm not saying I'm not going to buy the Xbox at all. I'm just saying Fable 4 isn't enough to bring me from one side to the other. Well, now that I've gone across to PlayStation.
Yeah, I was ready to make the jump to PlayStation a couple years ago, man.
We spoke about it.
Ever since Bloodborne and all those experiences, I was definitely ready to pack box up because I didn't really care about Gears 5 coming out.
But this is the thing, though, is that
exclusives of shit.
That's the thing. We're coming down to exclusives because Call of Duty, Battlefield, all the big multiplayer games, they are cross-gen now, so you don't have to worry about having one or the other. And you can play, like right now, you can play Warzone or Call of Duty Online multiplayer with people on PlayStation and Xbox together. So there's those kind of games shouldn't be the ones that win you over on which console because they're going to be on both and the experience should be exactly the same. So it comes down to the exclusives, and you can't even compare at the moment. You can't. You couldn't even compare the last gen with the Xbox One X or the Xbox One and the PlayStation because God of War, Horizon, like even Days Gone has really picked up after all these updates, and then you finish it off with Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us Part 2, and we spoke about this. You can't even it's just ridiculous to think you can't even compare them.
I feel like every podcast we just suck PlayStation stick, but it's the only thing we can talk about at the moment because there's just nothing about Xbox.
Yeah, we both have definitely moved on to PlayStation now.
I never thought I'd say that. Growing up, I was a bit of a dick to like PS people because I was just like a militant Xbox boy. But now I've seen the light, man.
It's sort of like the same thing with people that own iPhones. They're just a little bit, bit strange.
Oh, come off it, Android boy.
But yeah, obviously we've still got time to figure out what exactly both consoles are going to have, how they're going to run. Obviously, like we both said, I feel like PlayStation's probably fine tuning their exclusives a little bit better towards their console. Xbox sort of let themselves down a little bit so far. So at this stage, obviously we're on the PlayStation hype train, and we're not going to stop until it's released. Just hoping that Xbox could pick up a little bit and make it a bit more competitive at this stage. I actually have seen people say it was a good release, but a good event reveal. But
Yeah, but
I don't know.
everyone that says it's good is only talking about Fable. And Fable, to be honest, everyone that's listening, reality check, it's 2-3 years away. You saw a title, that's it, a cinematic that could have been made 5 years ago.
Similar to Avowed. It was just
similar to Avowed, similar to Elder Scrolls 6.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's
it's
too far away to even care about.
Considering that we don't know what's going to be coming out on release day for the PlayStation or the Xbox at this stage, I'm hoping that PlayStation has a few exclusives come out, like some of those games. They don't have to be sort of like how Killzone comes out every time a new console comes out, a new Killzone comes out. It's sort of like Forza, and same as what's the other racing game? Racing car
Gran
game?
Turismo.
Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo is going to be a bundle game with the PS5, I'd say, like it was for the last one.
Yeah. So if those games if they can come out and be half decent, I'm just hoping there's a few of those exclusives coming out on PlayStation straight off the bat, because I'll be really keen to play them. So, anyways, final thoughts on PlayStation, Nick? You got anything to say?
PlayStation's the best, Xbox shit. That's it.
Xbox, please pick up your game. I'm hoping that we can eat our words, sort of like we did Ghost of Tsushima, because any gaming is good gaming at this stage, and it's a great world to be involved in. It's a good hobby to have. So,
yeah, I think that's a good spot to end it on a bit of an angry note, but a good one.
Anyways, thanks for tuning in this week, guys. Obviously, check out our YouTube channel with all our videos on it, a bit more descriptions on there, so you can understand and see what you want to watch. Also on iTunes, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Please go. We've also got a Twitter as well, which we haven't put much up on there at the moment because there's only 3 followers, which is like myself, Nick, and another mate. So go ahead and follow our Twitter. I'd be really grateful for that.
Yeah, when this episode goes up, we'll put some Gundam pictures up on Twitter, so you can actually have a bit of reference when listening.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to you guys listening again next week.
Deuces.